Hello there. Welcome back to Writing from Scratch with me, Tom. On today's video, I want to explore films and how watching them can both benefit and have negative consequences on your ability as a writer. Let's get started. Throughout a lot of last year, I found that I was getting a considerable amount of my inspiration from films and TV shows that I'd been watching. And that got me thinking. I wondered what effect watching TV shows and films might have on my ability as a writer, specifically somebody who's trying to write a novel, not a film script. So I did a little bit of research, and today I want to share with you some of the benefits and consequences of watching films when trying to write a novel.
So, let's look at storytelling first. It's pretty conclusive that watching films is a great way for building your understanding of how a story can, and maybe should if the film is good, be structured. We've talked about story structures before, and films are a great way of visualizing a story in a method that is enjoyable and easy to view. However, films have a critical flaw. Their stories are massively constrained by the duration of their runtime. Books do not have this issue, and do not have to take shortcuts in order to keep up the pace and entertain an audience. Films are the sprint events to a book's marathon. Both are running, but they are different in how they go about their job. It should go without saying then that reading books is the best way to develop your understanding of storytelling if you want to be a writer. If you want to write film scripts, then of course watching films is going to be preferable. But if you want to write novels, like me, then reading books will make sure that you're exposed to a much wider and deeper variety of storytelling that will allow your imagination of how to write your story expand in a way that films will definitely struggle to do. Characters are less of a clear-cut affair, as films have produced some of the most memorable characters in history. This is largely because we can absorb so much information about a character very quickly in a film, as we have the visual, audio, and physical attributes of them displayed to us immediately. And as humans, we're able to connect very quickly with faces in front of us. Films do, however, lack the depth that is achievable in a book. Books have a far greater scope for character ambiguity, grey personalities, and extended character exploration that films simply cannot match. If you're an avid book reader, the connection you can make with a character who exists solely in your head and is based on your interpretation of the text is far more visceral. Therefore, while films are a useful way for understanding character profiles and do create brilliant characters, they cannot substitute their literary cousins. After all, there's a reason so many people complain the books were better when they see an adaptation of their favourite work. So much of that has to do with the representation and depth of characters. So, go ahead and watch films and TV shows with excellent characters, but just be aware that you're getting a lot more information on screen, and that when you write these characters, you're going to need to put in a lot more work than just pointing a camera at them and pressing go. Another important difference between films and books that you should be aware of if you're getting a lot of your inspiration from films is that films are not a medium that is designed to trigger your imagination, and books are. If you are learning how to write from films, you are training the wrong part of your brain, because after all, to write a book you must be able to imagine whatever it is you're putting on paper. That's not to say that films don't stimulate your imagination, they surely do, but more in terms of what would I do if I was there, whereas when you read a book you have this question, but you also have to imagine the setting, the characters, the mannerisms, the environment, and anything else that the author hasn't told you. If you want your reader to have the same experience in your book, you need to read more so you can understand how that feels. Again, this is all about how films and TV shows deliver a message in just a different way than a book. Films and TV shows are much more focused on getting through the story and providing instant entertainment, which doesn't require much imagination from the reader. If you're using this medium as a lot of your inspiration for writing, it might make things more difficult for you when you're trying to put your own ideas on paper.
Now, all of this might seem like I'm hating on films and movies, and I'm really not, but I think it's important that we should recognize that these are two different fields and require different sets of skills and disciplines in order to be successful in them. That doesn't mean that there aren't things we can take from filmmaking and script writing and apply to our writing to make it more effective, and vice versa. But we should understand that the most useful way of getting skills to improve our writing ability is through reading books, through reading novels, and trying to expose ourselves as much to that field that we're trying to break into. Watching films and TV shows can give us benefits, but we should recognize that there are also some consequences of doing that, and we should work to make sure that we don't get affected too heavily by those. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you found this video useful. Please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing the video with your friends because it really helps the channel grow. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.